Well, when I was 5 or 6 seconds old, I decided I wanted to be a professional soldier.
But right now, here's our review of the fastest selling title on the Xbox ever. It's Fable.
What's your Wi-Fi?
What? I was just,
Boys and girls, life is made up of difficult moral choices. Should you, for instance, accept a bribe to keep quiet about a husband's infidelity?
Tell you what, if you keep this little secret, I'll give you a gold piece.
Or should you tell his poor, manipulated spouse the truth?
Wait till I get my hands on that pig!
The correct answer, of course, is to do both. Pocket the cash and have a good laugh at the screaming match that immediately follows.
You filthy swine! I ought to chop them right off!
Fable is the highly anticipated latest attempt by God game pioneer and creator of Black and White, Peter Molyneux, to create a real world where your character is sculpted by a lifetime's good and bad deeds. It succeeds. It's just a shame that the world isn't terribly exciting.
Come on, wake up.
Starting the game as a young boy, disaster strikes when your village is razed to the ground by bandits. You're rescued by a guild of wizards and trained until you become a fully fledged adult adventurer with a distinct resemblance to Hugh Jackman. From that point, you're free to roam the game world, accepting quests and interacting with the locals. This interaction can take the form of flirting,
With him around, you know, you're not half bad looking.
bizarre displays of bodily functions, or if you're that way inclined, shoplifting and murder. This is all rather lovely, but the fact remains there could be a little too much freedom in Fable. A structure as loose as this, however lovingly created, doesn't lend itself that well to a rollicking good story. Quests are filled with monsters and magical creatures, alright, but when it comes to actually playing them, everything feels a little perfunctory. Definitely a case of love the world, where's the game? Mind you, any title that has a crunchy chick in it can't be all that bad. Fable will no doubt find its fanatical admirers. It's just that we're not among them. It's not the revolutionary game many were expecting, but it is striking and does genuinely make you think about the nature of morality and werewolves. It gets 3 out of 5 on the dial. Not the masterpiece we were hoping for, but worth a rental at least.
Shall we go?
In 1997, Stevie Killcreek Case launched her pro gaming career by beating John Romero, the co-creator of Doom and Quake, in a Quake deathmatch. She showed the world for the first time that in games, girls could beat the boys. Today, the girls now have their own competitions at various esports events like the Electronic Sports World Cup in France, which was the first event to have a female-only Counter-Strike competition. However, as esports is about brains not brawn, should the boys and the girls be competing together on a level playing field?
You take the best female team, you take the best male team, the male team win the game. But that's not important, that's not the point. The point is where you put the limit and who is the best in that limit.
We decided to test those limits with our own unofficial Counter-Strike match in the ultimate battle of the sexes. Introducing Wolf, one of the UK's newest and most promising clans, with special guest player Bond, a man who normally plays Warcraft. They're an enlightened bunch when it comes to female gamers.
I think girl gaming has come a long way since it first started. I mean, back in the day, it was girls and Counter-Strike was just no one had ever heard of it.
And taking up the challenge on behalf of the girls, the German clan Cats.
Counter-Strike is the best. We can play tactics and more team play. Here we train against male clans and we beat true.
They've come to the level now where they're starting to compete against some of the men's teams. Not against like the people of SK and NOA, but they're really competing against some of the lower-ended good teams.
So losing to a team of well-trained girls shouldn't present a talented male team with any real problems.
They don't want to lose against females. They think they are better.
we could definitely beat a girl team. We're yeah.
Time to put up or shut up then. England versus Germany. Wolf versus Cats. The first to 7 wins. After a tense, cautious opening by both sides, it was something of a shock when the girls took the first round. And the next. And the next until they had a 6-0 lead.
On the roof outside.
The boys, realising that they were staring at a potential whitewash, regrouped and came back hard to take the next 5 rounds. But the girls held their nerve to take the final round to win a shock result 7-5. The boys, outplayed and humiliated, sought sanctuary in the safety of their hotel room, but to no avail, as we crashed their pad to hear their excuses.
We had a bit of trouble with one of our players last night, drinking a bit too much, so Bond, the Warcraft 3 player, stepped in and basically he lost his match. We were messing around in the first 6 rounds, just like rushing them and just taking it not very seriously. Basically, we just know that they're not as good as us and we'll beat them next time.
So the Wolf boys lost the game, damaged their reputations and couldn't even admit to a fair defeat. Meanwhile, the girls could hold their heads high as they headed off to tell everyone they'd just beaten a bunch of boys. This unofficial match sends out a wake-up call to the boys and organisers of Esports. Sisters want to mix it with the best. Here's something new, everything you need to know about gaming gossip and news in one handy bite-sized package. In an aggressive move, Pro Evolution 4 has pushed back its release date to coincide with that of FIFA 2005. In case you're waiting for our Pro Evo review, we're holding out for the Xbox release so we can try the new online mode. The Doom movie has found its hero, and it's not The Rock. Carl Urban of Lord of the Rings fame will play good guy John Grimm. Does this mean gaming's leading man of choice will play a baddie? Only time will tell. Gran Turismo 4 has been delayed, kind of. An offline-only version will now be released in time for Christmas, with the online version to follow in 2005. But never mind, it'll still probably be out before Half-Life 2. What happens when a blizzard meets a hurricane? Well, the blizzard loses. Developers Blizzard found their online game World of Warcraft knocked offline as their Virginia offices shook hands with Hurricane Ivan. From November, US gamers can get a shiny new DS with Metroid Prime Hunters and Pico Chat for $149. Yep, it looks like Nintendo have the holiday season hardware sales all sewn up. Or so they thought. At the Tokyo Game Show, we always expect some major news, but this year, Sony caught us by surprise, announcing that they've put the PS2 on a diet. And this is the result. It's slim, sexy, and at $149 US, the same price as a DS. Anticipation has already had an impact on release dates. Rockstar have bumped their surefire blockbuster GTA San Andreas to move closer to the new PS2's November 1st release date. Take that, Nintendo. People will argue at length over which actor was the best James Bond, but disputes over the best 007 themed game are easily settled. Rare's N64 classic GoldenEye still ranks as one of the finest first-person shooters on a console, even though it's now almost as old as Sean Connery. So it's unsurprising that as holders of the precious Bond license, EA are having their own stab at that particular chapter with GoldenEye Rogue Agent.
One thing everyone on our massive team takes very seriously is living up to the legacy of the original product, and everyone that works on this game is so passionate about that game. It's near and dear to all of us.
There's certainly a lot to aspire to, so distinguished experts are being assembled to ensure that their world of espionage has the authentic look of the cinema classics.
We've hired Sir Ken Adam as our production designer. This is the guy that invented the look of the Bond universe in films. He did Dr. No, Goldfinger, all the way up through Moonraker, and he's designing the look of our game.
This time around though, you won't be sporting the sharp tuxedo of MI5's greatest agent. On the contrary.
Rogue Agent is all about being the ultimate villain in the Bond universe. You actually get to fight alongside Goldfinger, Oddjob, Pussy Galore against Dr. No and Xenia Onatopp, some of the best Bond villains of them all. We've taken some of the fundamental core mechanics of first-person shooters to the next level. Now you can take out a guy's grenade or shoot a death trap switch and activate it. We also have a very effective melee system where you can knock a guy silly at close range, just like a Bond villain would in a film.
Well, we're sinisterly stroking our Persian cats in anticipation, and we'll have a review for you to spy on when the game arrives in December. Still to come on Gamer TV, there's something for everyone. There's a scary man with a gun. Plus, we've got rappers, plumbers, and time-travelling cats. So keep it locked. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We may look a bit different, but we're still Gamer TV. Let's kick straight off with some reviews. Princess Daisy gets kidnapped by Bowser so often, we think she secretly likes it. Is it possible to have an illicit affair with a dinosaur? Well, it's about as plausible as getting squished into a pinball and rocketing off to save her. A trip to a local fun fair, our familiar heroes do just that. In Super Mario Ball for the GBA, the newly spherical plumber is transported by cannon to 5 different levels. There he pings and rolls to batter colourful enemies, unlock new sections of the table, and complete mini-games. Naturally, a boss is waiting at the end of each area, and be it a Pharaoh, pufferfish, or a giant plant, its defeat will mean a trip to a castle and a lovely shiny trophy. Simple enough then, and each of Mario Ball's levels is a multi-layered box of delights, even if that means the speed and scale of some pinball titles is missing. However, this isn't an in-house Nintendo title, and frankly, it shows. While being both fun and funny, the endless ingenuity favoured by Mario's creators is sadly absent. This is a short and slightly limited game. That said, it's incredibly cute and so jolly you'd think that all men are immortal and houses are free. Super Mario Ball offers a slower paced and more fanciful alternative to the likes of the Pokemon GBA pinball titles. While it lasts, this is a blast, especially for younger gamers. It clocks up a solid 3 on the dial. Worth a try, if not a buy. From a game more suitable for youngsters to one that definitely isn't. Def Jam Fight for New York contains scenes that made even our increasingly brutalised reviews team wince. Yes, EA's PS2, Xbox and GameCube follow-up to the rap-tastic Vendetta is bone-crunchingly violent.
Why down me? How about you shine my shoes?
Def Jam Fight for New York tells the seedy tale of the Big Apple's underground fighting circuit. The hulking crime boss D-Mob bursts out of the joint to discover a rival gangster called Crow has been taken over while he's been away. As a new recruit in D-Mob's crew, it's your job to take this sucker out.
Can you fight?
I can take care of myself.
A tuned-up fighting engine now offers more varied ways to bring the pain, with 5 fighting disciplines to master, like traditional wrestling, street fighting, or martial arts. You can grab objects from the frenzied crowd to whack your opponents with or smash their teeth in using hard bits of the surrounding environment. Fighting dirty is vital if you want to be the one left standing, not to mention enormous fun. A who's who list of hip-hop's major players lend their likenesses and vocal talents to the head-stomping mayhem. For example, you'll see the likes of Method Man, Busta Rhymes and Ice-T step into the arena. Even Lil' Kim gets in the ring. This is a violent return to the star-studded world of Def Jam that improves on Vendetta in every aspect. A well-told story mode and improved fighting engine gets Fight for New York a cracking 4 out of 5. A worthy addition to your collection.
Save your energy. You're gonna need it.
Dallas-based developer Gearbox Software have worked on top-notch PC shooters like Halo and Half-Life Opposing Force. But for their latest World War II FPS, Brothers in Arms, they've put in the kind of research normally associated with Hollywood movies.
Brothers in Arms is an action game. It's a first-person shooter. But it also is introducing a squad game. It's kind of a new frontier for this genre.
Excited by the buzz surrounding Brothers, we went to Dallas to visit Gearbox and meet with the US Army Colonel hoping to knock these software developers into fighting shape.
My name is Colonel John Antel, United States Army retired, and here we are today at the rifle range nearby Gearbox headquarters, and we're going to shoot some World War II weapons. Now the reason that we have real weapons here today is that every one of the Brothers in Arms designers, every member who's worked on the game, has actually had a chance to see the real weapons and, if they desire, to fire the weapons so they could learn more about how they really work. The M1 carbine was a weapon that was used by the U.S. paratroopers of the 101st Airborne Division in World War II. It was a light weapon, good for assault, had a magazine that carried 15 rounds. Well, you're probably wondering how a soldier got involved in the game business. Well, when I was 5 or 6 seconds old, I decided I wanted to be a professional soldier and spent 26 years after West Point as an active duty Army officer. I served in tanks. I'm an airborne ranger. And when it came time to retire, I was looking for something interesting to do. And I can't think of anything more interesting than making games.
Colonel Antal has been awesome. He's been helping us out a lot. I mean, he's taught me things that I never would have gotten through any other source because he's put me in situations that make me understand something about what soldiering is all about.
Okay, soldiers, since this is your first time firing the M1 carbine, I'm going to load it for you.
Thank you.
You are now on safe.
Okay.
See the green?
Got it.
Red means fire. When you're ready.
When we started Brothers in Arms, remember, the goal was to be part of a squad, to really connect with these other guys. So that meant that we had to invest in technology relating to rendering people that just didn't exist. We wanted to see what they were feeling by looking at their faces. When they aim their weapon, we want to see them, focusing with one eye. And we wanted to be able to contort the face, that aiming look you get when you aim a weapon. We wanted to see that.
The M1 Garand This was the finest rifle ever made. In World War II, this is the rifle that won the war for the American Allies. And it had an 8-round clip, which gave the American paratroopers and the American soldiers in World War II who used this rifle a lot of firepower and the ability to quickly reload and continue to put well-aimed fire on the enemy. And there's the distinctive ping that you hear when the rounds are fired and fully emptied. Well, I've been working on Brothers in Arms now for about 2.5 years. Initially, I was training the team in the art of war. I was teaching them about the history of combat, about D-Day, about what it was like to be a paratrooper on D-Day. In fact, I actually took the team out to the field on a field training exercise, and for 24 hours, they were soldiers. They wore complete uniform. They camped out in the field. They slept overnight. They got paintball weapons and actually fought in squad combat against each other so that they could learn the tactics of World War II. But when you get 32 software designers running around in the woods with paintball guns trying to do that, it's pretty interesting.
We developed the friendly AI based on our own experiences, the training that Colonel John Antel gave us.
Incoming fire!
But the result is really neat.
Brothers in Arms reports for duty on the PC next year. We'll have to wait until then to find out if Gearbox's research has paid off and if it lives up to our expectations. Speaking personally, if someone told me that gangs of pigs and cats were fighting a war across time, I'd be breaking out the rubber armchair and Mogadon faster than they could turn around. The Xbox has no such compunctions, however, and our little furry friends are soon to return to keep the space-time continuum free of dirt. Blinks 2, Masters of Time and Space, will again feature the snazzy time controls that made the original so influential. With them you can repair bridges, uncover switches, and save yourself from drowning. There'll be a bit of the Matrix here too, with Kitty dodging slow motion bullets. You'll also be able to play the villainous pigs in this version. They're not naturally blessed with time control.
Whoa, too high up.
And instead rely on stealth and burglary skills to get by. New to this sequel will be the wormholes, not thankfully the introduction of yet another heroic animal. These are interdimensional tunnels allowing travel between levels. These two levels of the early code we played are looking quite simple, probably due to the complexities of time control. The symbols that allow you to manipulate time are obtained by thwacking bad guys, and featured puzzles include fixing up gyrocopters, bombing barricades, and fighting enormous creatures made of white marble. It's been over 2 years since the release of the original Blinks. Since that time we've seen the likes of Jak and Daxter and Ratchet & Clank add new complexities to the platform genre on the PS2. To see if Xbox's cats have kept up, stay tuned for our review.
Roger, I'm on it. Here we go again.
That's it for this Gamer TV. Time for me to time travel back to my flat and do some hoovering. See you next time. Now, if I can just find that pause button.
This is a nightmare. One long, painful nightmare.